Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 20th of September 2021. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. The content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page. So if you go here on the top, click on the research tab, and it will take you to our page, which we update on a daily basis. So check us out here, and I believe you can find us, well, you can find a lot of useful stuff. So let's start off with the German index DAX, and from today will be called it will include 40 companies, not 30 as it was before. So DAX is expanding. Either way, guys, I mean, here we have an index which sold off heavily on Friday, drifted lower, and found support near this 100-day EMA. Shown as the green line, and for now I would say, looking at this picture, of course everything's looking quite bearish. Let me just quickly put this one on the chart right here. So this is the lowest point of September, near the 15,453. The index drifted lower and came very close to testing that level, but failed to break it and remained above it. But if we take a look at the cash index right now, well, we'll see a different story. We see already now a drop lower. We see a strong move below that 15,454 territory. Now we're keeping a close eye on all this because, again, this is all looking quite bearish at the moment. Certainly, we do have some obstacles here on the way lower, like for example some of these tentative upside lines, but again, I mean, which could still provide support for this index. But again, let's be very careful. This is a tentative line, so don't really focus too much on it. Keep it in mind, but for now, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside. Certainly, a bit of a retracement higher could be possible. If you are on the cautious side, you could just wait for a break of this upside line and then go for lower levels. However, we would still have to be very careful because, we would be approaching some of these other key support levels, like for example the lowest point of July near the 15,049 zone, and then of course slightly below that we do have the 200-day EMA shown as the black line. So either way, guys, yes, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside, but certain confirmation breaks are needed. Let's see if we can clear this upside line. With the upside on this one, yes, we do have this downside resistance line here, taken from the high of the 31st of August, and in order to aim for some higher levels, well, I would actually take a very careful approach and wait for a push above that barrier, and also push above the highest point of last week near the 15,792 level, and then we'll take it from there. Now jumping into the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and here we have an index also which declined. It did close in the red last week, but just a little bit here. However, if we take a look at the cash index, we'll see that the the price is also sliding further. We're drifting lower, and well, I mean, it's all looking not very good here for the index. However, we're also approaching this one of these upside lines. Don't get me wrong, I mean, they're still tentative. I mean, you can see these on the chart here, these two upside support lines, tentative upside support lines. One is drawn from the low of the 14th of May, and this other one, which we are approaching right now, is drawn from the low of the 2nd of April of last year. So let's see if we can clear that. If we the cash index is currently trading at around 34,220 20-30 zone, approximately around there. So yeah, we're below this, and we're very near this upside line. So let's see if it holds. If it can hold, maybe a slight rebound could be possible, but if it cannot, then, well, certainly, yes, lower levels could be met. Now, jumping into DXY, the dollar index, and here we have a nice good push higher. We saw this move higher. Yes, and last week, if you remember, I talked about this. I talked about this index, and what I said, that if we clear this 92.86 level, then yes, certainly, well, we'll start aiming for that 93.18 level, or if that gets cleared, well, certainly, yes, higher levels could be met. But initially, my target was the 93.18. We cleared that, and yep, now my next target is the highest point of August near the 93.73 level. And then we will take it from there, guys. I mean, we could see a further push north, but let's go slowly on this one, step by step. For now, I would say if the price here continues to trade above the 93.18 level, then yes, my next target is the 93.73 zone. Now, jumping into gold, and gold, yes, drifted lower, tested this 1741-42 territory, and now let's see what we can squeeze out of this one. So, basically, for now, I would say let's take a very careful and conservative approach and wait for maybe a drop below this hurdle, below the 1742 territory. If we clear that, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, and my next target could be this the low, the 10th of August, near the 1718 zone, and then yeah, we will take it from there. But for now, guys, long story short, at the moment, yes, I mean, we did get a good decline. We could still continue declining, but excuse me, just to be a little bit more on the safe side, I wait for a drop below the 1742 territory, and then yes, we could consider maybe a further move down. Because at the moment, what could happen, we could see maybe a reversal here, a push back up. Now, one thing that I need to adjust here as well is this downside line. Now, no longer needed because it's going to be a little bit different one right now. So this is what I'm going to keep an eye on. This short-term tentative, actually not very tentative, but more of a short-term downside resistance line, taken from the high of the 3rd of September. And yep, in a way, we could see maybe a bit of a retracement here, a move back up. However, in order to maybe consider that idea, a pushback above the 1758-59 territory right here would be needed. So if we climb back above it, then yes, we'll consider a bit of a larger correction here to the upside. WTI Oil. So here we have a nice little decline, which is considered as a temporary correction for now, because we're still trading above this upside support line taken from the low, the 23rd of August, and that means that there is still hope here for the bulls to step in and drive this one higher. But of course, I would say right now, all eyes are going to be on this little upside support line, maybe also this 70.59 territory. I spoke about this level previously. I looked at this one as a good area of resistance. Now it could take the role of support, but if this gets broken, then, well, I mean, this is where more sellers could join in, guys, so keep that in mind. So yeah, at the moment, guys, I'm still positive on WTI Oil. However, let's see how it's going to play out here near this upside line. I can see chat room here. Yes, good morning to you too. Good morning to everybody else who's joining in. So yep, I hope you're having a wonderful start of Monday. So Litecoin, very quickly on that one, and this one, is breaking the, so if you remember last week, basically this is where I'm going to start. If you remember last week, I talked about this idea of maybe seeing a possible head and shoulders pattern here, and well, with the neckline being this little upside line. So what I said, that if this 191 territory here, 191.73 territory provides resistance, then certainly yes, we could see maybe a bit of a retracement here, a move back down. And if this gets broken, if the upside line gets broken together with the 200-day EMA, well, maybe this is where more sellers could step in. So for now, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside, guys. My next target is the current lowest point of September near the 155.21, and then I'll take it from there. For now, like I said, I'm going to keep it short and simple, and like I said, let's see how this is going to play out. In case this actually travels back above this upside line and stays above it, then what we'll get ourselves here, a possible false breakout. We could see a push higher, but this is another thing to keep in mind, because if we do climb back up above this upside line, what we're seeing here is a bit of a, or should I say, what we could be seeing here is maybe a complex head and shoulders, and you see here we have two left shoulders here. We only have one, so maybe again this could be ideal, the ideal scenario, but again the market does what it wants to do. So if, like I said, if it travels back above this upside line, yes, we could go for the upside again, but keep that idea in your head that maybe, just maybe, we could see another right shoulder forming, and then another decline could be possible. But again, that's in the scenario if the rate travels back above this and stays above this upside line. AUDNZD, so this continues to drift lower. I mean, it's struggling to find that support. Last week's low was near the 1.00280 territory right here. So if you want to aim for the downside, wait for a break of that level. If we do see that break, yes, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, and then yes, more sellers could join in, where we could then maybe aim for this 1.0207 territory right here, marked by the lowest point of April of 2020. Again, so far, again, like I said, it's really bearish, I would say. It's still declining. However, I do understand the temptation to counter trade on this one. However, guys, wait for that confirmation break, and for this, in order to maybe consider some higher levels, a break of this downside line would be needed. USDCAD, very quickly on this, so continues to rally. Yes, oil is drifting to the downside a little bit. DXY is pushing higher, so it's basically replicating nicely this DXY chart here. So USDCAD is moving nicely to the upside. So for now, I would say yes, I will continue aiming higher, and my next target right now is this little obstacle here, the 1.2840, which could provide maybe a bit of resistance. If it does, then maybe a small little correction lower could be possible, and then we could see maybe another reversal and a push higher. So something basically like this you need to keep in mind here. And let me just put this one on the chart. There we go. So keep this upside line on kind of on your chart, just in case we see a nice deep decline here, and if this upside line does continue to provide support, then yes, another rebound may be possible. USDCHF, so bit of a nice good move last week. Of course, as you can see, the pair did drift higher. It could continue moving higher. However, don't get me wrong, I mean, maybe a bit of a retracement here could be possible towards this 0.9275 level, which is the highest point of July, and previously I looked at this one as a good area of resistance. Now it could take the role of support. If it does, then yes, another rebound like this could be possible. So keep that in mind. GBPUSD. So GBPUSD broke this upside line and continues to drift lower, and still has a chance to rebound to the upside if it gets a hold up somewhere near this upside line taken from the low, the 20th of July, and then yes, certainly higher levels could be met. But what I'm going to do here right now is going to probably take a bit of a a careful, neutral, maybe even more approach, because we overall you can see that we're stuck here in between these two tentative lines. So what's happening here is that the pair is getting into a bit of a squeeze, and we're kind of, yeah, if let's say if it continues to trade here in between these lines, it could be a while. But if let's say if it breaks if it breaks one of those, either the downside line taken from the high of the 30th of July or the upside line taken from the low of the 20th of July, if it breaks one of those, then yes, we could then consider the next kind of short-term directional move. Euro Aussie, haven't looked at this one for quite a while, so we are near the very key important area of resistance, near the 1.6195 zone, and yep, let's see if this can continue to provide resistance for now, because if it does that job, if it continues to hold, then maybe a bit of a correction lower could be possible, where we could aim for a maybe a test of this upside line here taken from the low of the 7th of September. And if basically this is the area, if we do see that decline, if this is the area where the bulls could still come in, take advantage of the lower rate, and then reverse it and push higher. So basically, long story short, what I'm saying here is that I'm keeping a close eye on this 1.6195 territory, or in a way we could round it up towards the 1.62. If this whole area provides resistance, yes, maybe a bit of a retracement back down could be possible. However, if this upside line does its job and does provide support, then yep, the bulls could take advantage of the lower rate and push this one higher again. Certainly, another thing to keep in mind is that if we overcome this 1.62 territory, yes, my next target is the 1.6266. Now, this is where the holdup could occur as well. So that's where the kind of the thin line here is. You need to be, like I said, careful here. If we do see a nice, good, strong push above that 1.62 territory, aim for that 1.6266, which could then provide resistance. But again, like I said, still basically overall, or overall in the short run, I would say, I'm still positive here, and let's see how far this can go. In order to consider the downside, at least in the near term, then yes, a break of this short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 7th of September is needed. At the same time, I would also like to see a drop below the 21-day EMA in order to consider a further maybe correction lower. And the reason why I'm saying correction, because we're still trading above this other upside support line, tentative of course, but nevertheless a medium-term tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 18th of March, which could also provide support later on. But again, in order to consider a move towards that area, towards this line, we need to see a break of this shorter-term one first. So guys, that's it for this session. This was a very quick one. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time. If you want to join me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, that's 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a wonderful trading day. Stay safe, have your stop losses in place, and everything will be fine. So thank you very much, and bye-bye.